Poopy, how you doing? Hey, Poopy, how you doing?
I'm just, trying to find a place with like-minded people, talk about like-minded things, about me, about poop and stuff.
Hey, Poopy, how you doing? Hey, Poopy, how you doing?
Oh man, what's this right here? Is this a podcast about poop?
And now, the Hey Poopy Podcast with Dave and Ellen.
Yeah, we're back.
Hey, everybody. That song almost blew out my eardrums, but that's okay. Anyway, so hey, this is Hey Poopy Podcast with
Dave
and Ellen, and this is episode 76, but it'll always be number 2 to us, our favorite number.
Wow.
And we haven't recorded in almost 3 weeks because we did so much content during the beginning of this quarantine, but we're back, motherfuckers. I hadn't seen my baby bear co-host in so long. And then I actually saw him in person yesterday at the park with a lot of social distancing. And it was nice to see the top half of your face.
I got to see a little bit of your face when you were drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Little previews, little peeks.
Little sneak peekies here and there.
Wonderful face.
Yeah. But we have a very special guest today. We have Eric Schmalenberger.
Hello.
Thanks for being on the show.
Who Eric and I became really good friends through camp. Eric is an amazing...
That's camp right now.
Ah. And Eric's an amazing circus performer, clown, everything. He variety. But before we go into more of who Eric is, we always like to go into, Eric, how are your poos?
My poops have been pretty good.
Oh.
This quarantine. I feel I feel very regular.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did you poop already today?
Yeah, I did.
Once, twice, more?
Once.
What did it look like via the crystal stool chart?
Long one. It was big and long and thick.
Like a type 4?
It was like a type 4. It was like a type. No, it was like a. Yeah, it was like a type 4.
Ooh, that's the perfect one.
Really thick.
That's good.
That's what you
Felt
want.
good. Felt good.
I today.
Smelly.
Yeah.
Really stinky.
Always
I today started off with a type 4 and then had kind of a type 6 after that. And then my third poo-poo today was like a combo.
Already today?
Yeah. Well, I have been kind of constipated recently, and I think I figured out what the problem is. I cannot eat gluten-free bread. That shit binds me up, and I don't poop. And so I didn't eat gluten-free bread yesterday or today, and I took a Swiss Crisp last night, and I'm evacuating everything.
What's a Swiss Crisp?
It's a laxative.
Oh.
It's an herbal laxative.
It is an herbal laxative. That's why I made 3 ginormous shits today. But my first one was a type 4. And it was like perfect, huge dam releaser. And then it's been a little bit.
Toilet.
It didn't spiral. It was just like whoosh, like one long,
Just drop that stuff
perfect turd. And then I had big piles after that, some messy Nessies. So it like piles a little bit out of the water like an iceberg. And they were stinky. They were gross. We're glad to get out.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave? How your poos been?
I pooped twice today. The first one was like
I'm so jealous of both of you.
Well, I had popcorn last night, and I think that's what had a little issue over the course of the evening, and then this morning. It was a nice, firm 3.5, I'd say.
Ooh.
Well, then I went to go to the post office, and right before, I pooped again, and it was not that consistent. It was pretty messy.
A little looser?
Like the Jackson Pollock.
Ooh.
Oops. A lot of splatter.
Lordy. I also drank 2 margaritas last night, a shot of tequila, and 8 mushrooms. So I feel like that helped lube all my innards.
Yeah, mentally prepared you as well.
Yeah. So I'm glad I've had a really good check-in for our first show back in a while. So, but I also have one other little update that's in my check-in. So I had what I'm now calling the Whitney Houston poop. Remember when Whitney and Bobby had their reality show and Whitney's poop got stuck and Bobby had to pull it out of her?
I never watched that show, so.
I'm not familiar with
Yeah.
this.
Well, it happened.
Enlighten us, please.
It happened. And so I didn't have Gerald do it, but I had to literally pull my poop out of my butthole like 2 weeks ago. It like wouldn't want to come out. So I had to take the toilet paper and like gently lead it out of the butthole. I've never had to do that before.
That's disgusting.
Did you feel satisfied afterwards?
Well, at least it was out. I didn't want it to get stuck.
Yeah.
Can't just be like half turtling for the rest of my life.
Oh my God. No.
Yeah.
That is so gross.
But I'm officially calling it the Whitney Houston of poops.
Okay. That's a first here on this show.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for sharing that.
So, Eric, tell the audience a little bit more about yourself.
About my out of toilet life.
Mm-hmm.
I am a producer and performer of circus and variety. I produce a show called. I produce a couple of shows, but my big one is called Wonderland, which has been around for about 10 years, and it is in New York at House of Yes. When we're doing theater shows, it's at House of Yes twice a month, and it also is in New Orleans and London and Scotland, and we just finished a tour of Australia.
And you almost got stuck there.
I almost got stuck there.
Oh my God.
Thrilling. It's amazing.
I remember you posting saying you weren't sure if you were going to stay or come back, and there was mixed.
I thought I should stay, and for some reason I wanted to come home, and I'm happy I'm home. But yeah, I miss touring. This is the longest I've been in New York in like years now. So, and I haven't left my apartment.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we're very grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
And,
Same here.
yeah. And then not in the fun, grounded way. The mommy and daddy, the big mama, Earth mama grounded us.
Okay.
Yeah.
A bit much.
That's true.
But
true.
we
But
get
yeah,
to, like,
so when the world is a normal place, that is what I do.
Yay. And you're a clown sometimes too. You're
Clown. I'm part of a clown troupe called Fufu Ha, and we perform at various festivals. We're sort of like, in pornography they have fluffers. We're like fluffers, but for parties. We get the party started.
Party starters.
We erotically charge your party with good times and fun by being insane and running around and screaming at each other and taking our clothes off and doing things like that.
You're like the hype clowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we work for a lot of festivals, and we work for House of Yes and Suzanne Barsh and all these cool people who are cool to let drunk, crazy, psychedelic, surrealist clowns run around their things.
Yes.
So yeah.
That sounds like a party.
That's awesome. Should we go right into the questions?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Eric, what kind of toilet paper do you use, and do you put it on the roll over or under?
So with toilet paper, I'm not super specific. I don't like cheap, horrible toilet paper. I like soft, kiss my butthole. And I judge people who have cheap toilet paper. I'm like, you don't care about your ass very much. And I sit there and I feel very bad for them as people. And it's been a problem with not with my roommates now, but with roommates in the past. I'm like, stop buying toilet paper. Why? Because you get the cheap stuff, and I'm not putting it anywhere near my asshole. Like, I like a nice charm, and I don't like I know that the environment is important, but the recycled toilet paper not soft enough. And I think I haven't really ever paid attention to whether I do under or over. I think mostly, I'm trying to mentally picture, I think mostly over, but I don't think that it's something that I specifically think about or get weirded out by if it's the other way around.
Right.
As long
We
as
have
it's nice and soft and kisses my butthole.
We have a lot of guests on the podcast, not everybody, but they're very, very rigid about if they're over or under.
I've heard this. There are entire television shows now. There's that thing on Netflix, that 100 People, where people get very emotional about the way that their toilet paper is.
I absolutely love that show.
So yeah, I think it's really cool. I just started watching it.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the show called?
100 Humans. I think I told you about it, Dave, because I actually found the email to the producer, and if they do a season 2, I'm fucking applying.
Okay.
I need to be on it.
Oh, I missed
There
this.
we
It's
go.
crazy.
But yeah,
You have to watch it. It's so good, Dave.
I will.
It's awesome.
I'm not super Mr. Specific about my TP, just that it's luxury.
And when you wipe, do you sit or you stand to wipe?
I sit.
Okay. Just checking.
Sit.
There are
We've just learned of
Although
this.
I do go camping, and so I've gotten used to also pooping while squatting,
Mm-hmm.
in a squatter, and that's really nice. I really like. It's very easy to shit while you're squatting.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a thing like that at home to help you?
We do.
Something-
We have a what is it called?
A squatty potty?
Yeah, we have a squatty potty.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah.
And do you have anything else in the bathroom that helps you? Like, do you have a bidet or...
No, but I love them.
Eric and I don't know if you remember, Eric, but we tandem bidet together last year.
I don't remember.
Wow.
Oh my god.
It must have been really exciting. You're like, I don't remember.
Eric is the only person who's bideted with me. He was in the fancy bidet at camp, and I was sitting on the toilet using my travel bidet, and we were talking high on God knows what, and we were talking about how we liked water splashing on our buttholes.
Oh my god, my favorite restaurant in the East Village is this ramen place that has a little one of those, and I'll spend the day at the East Village bathhouse, and then I'll go and go with one of my best friends, and then I'll go and I'll have ramen afterwards, and then I'll go and I'll have a huge smile on my face when I go to the bathroom, and I'll spend just 10 minutes with warm water spraying at my butthole until it goes cold. I like a bidet almost as much as I like a penis.
That's
I'm
number 2 on your list.
not super choosy, as long as it stimulates me correctly. I'll wait and I'll stay there with that water going until it goes cold. And then I'm like, ooh, refreshing, and then I'm done.
Yeah, it wakes you up, snaps you out of it.
I leave when I'm happy, big smile on my face, and my friend will just look and be like, have you just been having water squirt at your butt this whole time? And I'll be like, yes.
You're just luxurious.
And I'll do it to start the shit going, if it to loosen me up.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn it off while I'm actually pooping, and then I'll use it to clean me off.
Yeah. We got the bio bidet, and it has this function called turbo, and it squirts so far up your asshole that it like loosens. So yeah, it's like a slight douche action to then poop and then wash.
Yes.
So I totally know.
Yeah.
We're bidet buddies. I know.
I forgot about that. I love that. I can't remember. I think I remember. I think that might have been LSD night.
Yeah. I was on mushrooms. You were on LSD.
A lot of it.
We did a lot of bideting together on top of all that.
Yeah.
Are you jealous, Dave?
Very. You do LSD loose stool day. Yeah, I think I remember the.
But do I have anything else in my bathroom? Well, I'm in quarantine right now, so this is going to make me sad because I have no reason to douche. But I do have, I do douche in my bathroom occasionally to prepare myself, get things out so things can go in. But I haven't had to do that in a while because I'm a single person and I am not fucking anybody.
Yeah. What's your preferred douching apparatus or whatever?
Oh, I just like a simple little bulb.
Oh, okay.
Very.
Yeah, we had like Matt Knife on, and he has the shower shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I was like,
I don't bottom enough to have a full setup. When I have special occasions for special visitors, I have like a drawer in my room where I'm just like, okay, every once in a while, I pull one of these out, take care of it, get going. Here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people have, full setup.
Oh, like a full apparatus, like complete rig.
Yeah, we've learned. I didn't even know about the shower shot until Matt Knife was on, and we've learned a lot on this podcast. So
it's a whole culture.
Exactly. And at first, when Matt Knife was describing it, Dave was like, "I got to get one of these," and I was like, "Really, Dave? Do you?" And then he looked at it. He goes, "Oh no, I don't need that."
It was pretty extreme.
Yeah.
I think a regular hose might do the job.
Exactly.
Homosexual.
Eric, do you have any first memories as a kid of poops or farts?
I used to get constipation horribly when I was a child. Anytime I had anything with like, I was not lactose intolerant, but anytime I had anything with like a lot of cheese or mayonnaise or anything very rich, I would get horrible constipation. And I just remember like being 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. It sort of petered out when I started going to school. But we'll get to that in just a second. But I just remember like crying on the toilet, being very dramatic, and then my mother would bring me like warm water, and she would have me run around the house, and she would just tell me, and I think about this.
Would you drink the warm water?
Drink the warm water.
Okay. I was like, where's this warm water going?
I don't know. And she would tell me, and it just remained in my life forever and has become a piece of advice that I give to people all the time, regardless of poop or no poop, which my mother would say, after every great pain comes a relief.
True.
Yeah.
And so
whenever
I have a friend who's like going through a breakup, or a sad time in their life, or they didn't get a grant, or didn't get unemployment.
Yeah.
I tell them after every great pain comes a relief, and I follow it up with, my mother used to say that when I was little and got constipated all the time. It's a little levity to the situation, and I think it's true. You know,
It is.
Yeah.
you're not going to be constipated forever.
Exactly. Well, let's hope not. A couple of people have died via constipation that we've learned on this podcast.
I don't want to be one of them.
No, make sure you get that relief.
Get that out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Get it out.
Yes. And in kindergarten or first grade, sometimes if I got constipation, I would just go digging with my finger. and I think that's when I first started enjoying my butthole, is I would just go in the bathroom and just dig around in there until things started coming out. And I would wipe my finger on the wall, and I
You look a minor.
doing that pretty quickly. But for like 2 years, first and second grade, I definitely dug in my butt a lot. It's a very anal time in my life.
Yes, it was.
Clearly.
But if it helps a bunch of relief, but then you also realize so much pleasure came from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love pooping. Pooping is such a nice feeling.
It's one of the best parts of life, especially if you have suffered any kind of constipation like you did, like I have. Dave, it seems like, has rarely suffered any
I
constipation.
had constipation.
Right.
I've constipated in so long.
Huh?
I can't even remember.
Yeah. I have suffered so much of it in my lifetime. And so pooping is like,
That's why I never thought of that, you know, it's the joy having so much trauma as a child from constipation that every time I poop, I'm like, oh, thank the Lord, baby Jesus in heaven.
100%.
Get it out.
For this shit which I have just given.
Release.
Yeah.
Release.
That's one, what are the great releases? Orgasm, shit, vomit, laughter, burping, and there's something.
Farting?
I think farting counts with pooping, but there's like 7 great releases, and they're all sort of intertwined. Laughing, and they're biological and emotional, but they're
Crying?
tied up in crying.
Poop. You said poop, puke, laughing, crying,
burping,
orgasm, sneezes. That makes sense.
But it's incredible because poop counts, but pee doesn't count as one of the great reliefs.
It should.
It really should be, because when you got to pee so bad and you're like, and then it finally happens, it's very cathartic.
Yes, I agree. But I think you're less. I think that it's just biological. I think that you're less emotionally tied to being. But I don't remember. I can't remember even where this comes from. I'll have to find it. Yeah. Anyways, that's my relief of poo.
Yeah, I was trying to get you to do combo with me, the frog poison, and that has both the throwing up relief, sometimes crying relief, and sometimes pooping relief. But almost 99% of the time you throw up.
I did ayahuasca, and when I did ayahuasca, I did not throw up, but I did shit a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like
I've heard that
10 minutes for like 24 hours.
Wow.
And then a week later, I gave up smoking.
Oh, that's amazing.
Never went back to smoking.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did ayahuasca in November, and I talked about it before on the podcast. And I did a lot of throwing up, and I only did some pooping when it was all like the entire ceremony was done.
Yeah.
But I was like very nervous I was going to shit my pants.
It was amazing because I didn't know where even all the shit came from.
The colon and the small intestines are a lot There's a lot of mileage in that colon and small intestines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like cleaning all of that out.
Yeah. Dave, you're not into puking, right?
I mean, I rarely puke, but I mean, it feels great when it's done.
Oh, so you're not somebody who's scared of it. I have some friends who are like terrified of it.
I'd rather.
They're like,
I mean, I do everything in my power not to puke, but if it's got to come out, it's got to come out. So
yeah. I rarely do unless I'm on combo or ayahuasca.
right.
I've done a lot of puking this past year because of those things.
I occasionally have like emotional puking. If I'm really stressed out, I'll just start throwing up,
Right.
which is not pleasant.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
I mean, there's a huge mind-body connection to even that stress when it comes to diarrhea or constipation, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The body purges or holds on to. Yeah. Our favorite question, Eric.
Yeah.
Pants or floor? You have Bristol number 7 coming out, no toilet in sight. Do you shit your pants or do you find someplace on the floor or ground?
I think that I have only had that happen once as a grown-up, and I shit my pants.
Do you want to tell us about it?
Sure.
Let's get into it.
It was during the blackout in 2003, and I was walking through the East Village. So just to set up for this story, I was living in a dorm at NYU, where I went to school, and I had spent 24 hours watching every single Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, and eating because Freddy versus Jason was coming out that day. And me and my roommates had eaten so much fucking junk food and just done a 24-hour movie marathon of every single Freddy and Jason movie. And we were going to go and see Freddy versus Jason in the movie theater. And right when we got in line at the movie theater, the great blackout of 2003 happened. And everybody was just sort of like confused and walking around the city. And we'd been through September 11th, like not that long before.
Yep.
2 years before. Yeah.
Ellen, were you in the city at that time?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was in the city for both of them.
Yeah, me too.
And I think Dave was too, right, Dave?
Yep. I was here.
Yeah, crazy time period, and here we are today with the most boring. Oh God! But I remember walking around the East Village, just like sort of wondering what was going on, and people weren't panicking, but there was a lot of people out on the street, and at one point, having had so much junk food for 24 hours, like we just drank coffee, ate popcorn, ordered pizza. I think I made like chili. I had gone through like 4 packets of bagel bites. And I just suddenly had to go to the bathroom, and places were closing down. Other places were crowded. Nothing made sense because the electricity on in half of the country had gone out, and I just shat myself. And then I calmly went into I made my way to the closest place where I could find a bathroom. It was the Selka. And I went into the bathroom. I took off my underpants. I wrapped them very thickly in an entire roll of toilet paper. Put it in the trash can, cleaned my butt in the sink, and left.
And walked back to your dorm?
Yeah. And the rest of the experience, that was the only bad part of the entire day. Like, I had such a wonderful time during the blackout. Like, all of the restaurants in the East Village and Union Square were like giving away food for free. So me and my roommates just like went to all of these incredible places and just got all of this free food. And people were just like having fun in Union Square. And it was kind of a very magical and strange 24 hours.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that blackout actually brought out a really great humanity of New York. Like, people were just like really in a good mood, and kind of all as one. We kind of like got through it together. But it was it was actually a kind of a fun time, even though
it was. Besides, and I didn't even have that bad of a time shitting myself. I love that that's the time that I did. I've sharded before. I think that anybody who says that they haven't is
lying,
pretending to themselves.
But on this podcast, we think if anybody tells us they've never shit their pants, even just a shart, we think they're lying. Yeah. If you're like, there's a lot of liars out there.
So I'm really thankful that that's my shitting my pants story.
We did it the right time. It was dark, so no one could really couldn't tell.
It was the middle of the day.
Oh, right.
Oh my God.
I've definitely sharded myself to the point where I was very worried that it would show through but I still don't consider that true shitting my pants. It's like a small amount. Or
and a moose bouche.
I like that. Yeah, where you're like, oh God, I hope those droplets aren't showing.
Sharding's the word. I hate sharding.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of another quick little check-in. I talked about this on another episode that I actually shit my pants here in my apartment during quarantine a couple weeks ago. That's because what?
Congratulations.
You're welcome. And I actually submitted it to another podcast called The Daily Beans as my quarantine confessional, and they read it on their podcast. Ooh. So. Yes, I want to thank the Daily Beans for now that I've told 2 different podcasts that I shit myself during quarantine.
What was the situation?
I'll blame Swiss Chris again, the laxative. I was constipated, and so I took one night, and I pooped a little bit the next day. And so that next day, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to take 2. I'm not going anywhere. So I'm close to the toilet. So that next day, I pooped 2 massive shits in the toilet, and then was sitting on my couch in my apartment, and I have a railroad apartment, and all of a sudden, I felt a rumble in my tummy, and when I briskly walked to the bathroom...
You released before you got to your location.
I did. Whoopsies!
It couldn't have happened to a nicer gal.
But I said to our executive producer, Stormy Leather, I was like, hey, I'll shit my pants every fucking day if I can get this podcast more listeners. And Stormy goes, can I quote you on that? And I was like, yes, you can.
That is a very Stormy Leather statement.
Yeah. I didn't take such an oath.
Yeah, good stuff.
I will do whatever I have to get this podcast to be fucking famous, including shit myself.
Just eat a bunch of Swiss Chris every day. There you go.
Oh, I will. What is your best cure for diarrhea or constipation, Eric, besides your finger when you were little? As an adult.
Generally, I don't have a problem. My poos are pretty regular. I'll take a warm, like, given the chance, I'll take a warm bath, and that'll usually, and I'll eat something with a lot of fiber. I have had to take a laxative before.
Which brand laxative?
I don't remember.
Oh,
Long ago, tiny little red ones.
X-Lax.
Yeah.
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 Like Red
I've
Hots.
taken those.
I think once I was just very impatient and not feeling great and just douched my butthole for poopage rather than pleasure. So yeah, I've been lucky, and it hasn't happened in any sort of like big public context. So I usually just I always make sure that I live in a New York apartment with a nice bathtub, and I'll usually just take a hot bath, and that'll usually help.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
I also, as another check-in, because we haven't recorded in so long, I was
some for
feeling
later.
very like, huh?
Save some for later.
No, but
You'll have new stories by the next time you record.
I know, right? I will. But I was feeling a little lethargic and very bloated. And I was like, oh my God, I don't feel good. And so I was like, oh, I haven't pooped. So I gave myself a suppository and I made this huge poop 10 minutes later. And all of a sudden I got like this burst of energy. And I was like, oh my God, the poop was literally weighing me down.
Oh.
And so the suppository brought energy and life back into me.
Nice.
Like take your shit out of you.
Exactly.
There you go.
I felt like a cat after I pooped in the litter box and then ran out. Like, woo! What's the worst public toilet you've ever pooped in or peed in or been around?
I was thinking about this. So there's two things that I'm gonna mention. A common thing that's annoying when you have to poop, and then the actual worst bathroom I've ever been in. The worst bathroom I've ever been in was a public toilet in London.
Ooh.
Like smelt so bad, and just there was shit on the floor. Like it was just gross. And
Where was it?
it was in central London. Where was it? It was in central London. It was not far from like. It was near Soho. It was at that area. Maybe it was in. Oh, it was in Covent Gardens.
Nice.
Public toilet down there, and then the other thing is a lot of gay bars take the doors off of their toilets
Why?
so that boys won't fuck in them.
Oh.
Ah.
It doesn't stop that, number one. But it does make it very awkward if you have to take a shit.
Yes.
And so there have been many times when I've been like out at a gay bar with my friends, and I will literally have to poo, and I will run to another bar like 3 buildings over or 3 blocks away so that I can take a shit, because I don't mind so much like if I'm camping and somebody sees me squatting in the woods, but there's something complete like if I'm at a gay bar and I'm trying to be like cute and have a nice time, and I know a lot of people and there's a lot of cute people who I might want to get to know better. I don't want anybody walking in on me taking a shit.
Completely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Or taking a shit while 2 people are fucking right next to you. You're like,
Yeah.
Yes, not a good look.
So that's a complaint that I have. Uh-huh.
I didn't even know. Like, wait, can you name some bars that?
I'm going to choose not to.
Okay. No. I'm just like curious to like if there. I mean, I guess I've not been in that many gay bars.
Are you gonna go check out those gay bars, Ellen?
Yeah, but I'm just like curious to like which ones are like, oop, can't poop in that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's a few around the town that don't have doors on their toilet.
Fascinating. Did not know that.
Sometimes you just end up in regular bars where the toilet door in the men's room has just fallen off. I was like, oh great.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And have you had anything that's poop related during your work? Or have you ever farted or when you're like hosting or
I haven't farted while I'm hosting. I burp a lot when I'm hosting. I'm very, very public about my farts. Like I'll like smile and be like, I farted. I've said that sometimes, like when I'm talking to somebody who actually I probably shouldn't say that to, like, you know, big producers or a possible investor, and I'm like, haha, I farted.
Release the tension.
Pardon?
Releasing the tension.
Releasing the tension. I do have, in my show, I have a couple of acts that where shit is not involved, but where butt stuff is.
Ooh, tell me.
And so there's this performer named Mouse. And Mouse is sort of like the Olympic athlete of orifice art.
I've heard of Mouse. I've not seen them.
She's London based, and she's done my shows in New York and my shows in London. And she will put things in her vagina and in her butt. She'll pull things out of them. She'll like ladle water into both her vagina and her butt, and she'll spin around in her own wetness, water squirting out of every orifice. Looks like a very beautiful sprinkler. And she's called Mouse because she's like 5 foot tall, and so she's very tiny, little blonde, East London, very sort of like as close to a Cockney accent as you get in like modern day England. Very sort of like Shoreditch, working class. But she's so good, and she does this for like 15, 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And it's incredible.
So it's a full-on marathon.
It is. And through Mouse introduced me to another performer named, I can't remember if I met Christine first or if I met Mouse first. But there's another performer named Christine who sings about poop a lot. We did a show together, and she rewrote. Christine rewrote a Kate Bush song to be about peeing and pooping in her glass bottom toilet. It's me and my glass bottom toilet, just pooping on you. Hoping that I don't choose to. I can't remember how, but it was amazing. And at House of Yes, we literally raised her up in this beautiful, like, glass bubble chair, and she sang about pooping on the audience. And there's this moment when people are doing acts like this, when the audience actually fears that something will end up on them.
For sure.
And there's a reaction happens, that's kind of amazing. And they're professionals. They I mean, that you have people like Rosewood who put fake poo in their like, and then fling that out at the audience. Only liquid comes out of mouth. Although
it's usually water.
Yeah. We were eating milk sometimes. We were eating dinner once in New York, and I just remember being like, "What would you like to eat?" I was taking her out to dinner, and she was like, "I can have anything that I want today." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "I don't have any bum shows this week."
So there's certain things she stays away from if she does have it.
You have to.
She's doing a week where she has a lot of butt work. She tends to, limit her diet. I haven't asked her what she limits her diet to, but I do remember that night we were at a nice restaurant and we had like steaks and mac and cheese. And so those were things that she was excited because she doesn't get to eat those when she's doing bum shows. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, like I've heard from the great Asa Akira that you should never eat beets before an anal scene because beets can look like blood.
Yeah.
And then we interviewed Mistress Ashley last year, and there were certain things she had to stay away from when she was pooping on her, as she calls, poo guys, the people who paid her to do pooping stuff. So yes, diet is a huge thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then you had another act at House of Yes that you might possibly introduce us to the podcast.
I have these two lovely boys named Nikita and Punch Boy.
Punch Boy?
Punch Boy. And they do a really adorable fisting act.
Okay.
That is quite something.
How do they do it? Because I've heard of one fisting act that was like behind a screen. So you like only saw
screen.
It's what?
It's not behind a screen.
Okay.
At my recommendation, they eventually made a Lazy Susan.
Oh.
So that once the fist was inside, they could like walk it around.
Rotate it?
Yeah, rotate it. So they try and give everybody a good view so that you realize that this is a real thing, not
an illusion.
And I think that acts like this are important because any listener out there should understand that I don't show these acts because they're shocking. I show them because there's actually something sort of like wholesome to them, and that to sit there and to take something as taboo as any of these things and sort of add an element of theater or comedy or like sweetness to it, I think is really nice because you sit there and you have to recognize that these are lovely human activities that people enjoy. And like in the kink community, people always say like, don't yuck my yum. To find ways to show what other people find yummy and do it in a way that you're not just, because shock by itself is just sort of boring, but being able to show somebody something in like an interesting way, or an like how do you make fisting adorable? Ellen, the next time we have this, both of you, the next time we have them perform, I will show you exactly how you make it. Like they do an act where like one of them is a teddy bear and the other one is like a sad person who feels like they're never going to be loved. and the teddy bear ends up like being like, but I'm your friend. And, well, show me, Teddy, show me. And it's just so...
So does the person get fisted or the teddy bear get fisted?
The person gets fisted by the teddy bear. And it's just really sweet. And I've taken that act a couple of places too. And we have a great time. I love traveling with those boys. I think that their artwork is really cool and different and more valuable than a person might give it credit for.
Awesome.
Yeah. Dave and I have learned about a thing called Fist Fest that that I'm very interested in. And there's a guy I think named Fisto.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have not had somebody like besides
just in Washington D.C. just a few months ago.
Yeah. And so we haven't had
familiar with Fist Fest.
I mean, that's something Dave and I are very interested into talking to more people about fisting. Because yes, we are Hey Poopy Podcast, but we're about everything but. So we're curious about anything that comes in and out of the butt.
I think that's y'all are just a couple of asshole lovers.
I think that's a new T-shirt.
Oh
we're
God.
A couple of asshole lovers.
As a lover of assholes myself, I relate. I got so mad recently because all of these words that people use to describe like horrible people in our current government are things that I really love. Assholes. I love assholes. Clowns. I love clowns. I just want that. Like, what's a good word that's not insulting to my lifestyle?
If you call them a douchebag, you like douching. I mean, like...
I think that they just sort of become their own bad word. You don't have to call a Republican anything but a Republican.
Yeah.
Already a bad word.
Yes. I just call our president either Trumpy or the Cheeto in chief.
But I like Cheetos.
I've just ruined Cheetos for you.
No, I eat them less and less these days because, trying to remain healthy in my solitariness of my life.
I know, it's been hard. I've totally gained my COVID-19. That's for sure. I turned to my partner the other day, who you know, Gerald, and I was like, I need to go on a diet because I can't do this anymore. And he's like, you look fine. You don't look any different to me. And I'm like, you're supposed to say that, and thank you, but no, I need to cut down on some stuff.
Tell Gerald he's doing everything right. He's a sexy, sexy man, and I love him.
I will most definitely tell him. I'm done with all the questions unless, Eric, you want to share something else.
No, I think I've made it through all of the shit that I felt like.
Yes, you have. Well, we can go into our Let's Get Shitty segment. It's the part of the show where we get to complain about things. So I'm going to play this little intro, and then we'll get into it.
I'm complaining about things?
You can complain about whatever you want.
Whatever you feel like. And if you don't feel like complaining about anything, you don't have to either. That's fine. But I'm going to play this little intro, and we'll get into it.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for Let's Get Shitty.
Hurrah.
Hurrah. I mean, I think I started complaining already. The fact that language is not specific enough to give horrible people the terms that they deserve, that they sometimes co-opt my love of buttholes.
Mm-hmm.
So then what would be the one word that you don't like, or something you don't like that you could co-opt to call these?
I hate when people call people in the government clowns, or say, what a circus. I'm like, no.
No, but like, what can you call it? Like, something you hate, like
the government. Exactly.
Government.
I agree. Those words just become synonymous with like just complete like. You just know it's just a bad word.
I don't know. Like, can't we call them something that just is inherently gross, like Crocs?
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't like Crocs.
Or, bad fashion.
Yeah.
I'd like to just call Republicans bad fashion.
Yeah, they're poorly dressed.
They're poorly dressed.
Yes.
But then so were a lot of Democrats also. Let's
be honest, completely.
True.
Most politicians are just complete.
What else do I have to complain? I really miss being on stage. And I'm really sad and upset that, like, I have no idea when like, live theater, nightclubs, my entire life that I've spent, 20 years building, that so many people in my community have spent their entire life building, that I don't know when any of that will come back.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's really, like, disheartening and makes me feel bad. And it's shitty.
Yeah.
It is.
Every time I see people walking on the street without masks on, I am so angry. And I'm also angry that, like, I can't perform. I can't go out on dates. I'm a single person. I have lovely roommates and a lovely dog. But it's weird. I'm a very social and sexual person, and I hate it.
Yeah.
It numbs my inside.
Oh yeah. This is strange times we're in.
A guy invited me. He was like, "You seem really stressed out. Why don't we have a staycation together? I'll get us a hotel room with a private pool." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds amazing." I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the thing that I complain about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm not gonna go and gallivant around, get on a subway and go into Manhattan and fuck in a pool.
Yeah.
Even though I really want to.
It sounds delightful.
What about you, Dave? Do you have any?
My fancy life of international clown travel has been ruined.
Well, it'll get back at some point, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully it's just halted.
That's all we have to kind of hold on to is like, what it's going to look like after this.
Yeah. Yeah.
At some point.
I have good days and bad days where I'm like trying to plan for the future, and sometimes that works, and other times I just can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
That's very real, except to poop.
Yes.
Bringing it back to poop.
And talking to us, even though you're literally laying in bed while we're interviewing you. But at least we can talk about poop and laugh at it for a good hour.
Yeah,
it is true, and I do have to say that in a limited lifestyle, pooping has become a great joy in my daily life, like even more so than it was before.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my complaints right now.
Nice. Those are good ones.
I miss audiences and sex.
Yeah. What about you, Dave?
My Let's Get Shitty is technology based.
No.
I spent a good chunk of the day just updating my computer's operating system to a new version, which then they never tell you, which I knew was going to happen, but that took like a half an hour. Then it was like another hour of updating all the programs. Then it was another 20 minutes of making sure that all my plugins and all these things that attach to these programs that I need to work, that I make my living off of, are all talking to each other. And it's just I understand technology moves very fast, but it's just the most ridiculous I hate that we cling to it so much because, you know, it's like there's an update here. Oh, there's an update here. There's an update here. And like every time you do all this stuff, people have to keep either repurchasing, re-upping, sort of like committing to all these like ideas that necessarily don't make my life any easier. But I need it to work, so I have to go through this whole giant like circus. Oh, actually, I'm taking that back. Not circus. This whole bad fashion show.
You're doing backflips.
Is this like it's? I was a little bit irked today, and I had a bunch of work to get done before this, and it was like a whole thing. So yeah, technology. It's never like it's never as promised.
Yeah.
It never is. So that's my complaint again. I feel like
my let's get shitty is so we are now at the stage in the quarantine where we're allowed to congregate with 10 or less people. So yesterday we went to the park and I saw Dave and a couple other people very socially distanced with masks on, which was one of the most fun days I've had in months. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm not complaining. My complaint is I was so nervous the entire time we were there that what if I had to poop? Like the public bathroom in the park was a mess. Prospect Park.
Yeah.
And we were thankfully the person who organized the outing picked a place which was close to a public bathroom that was open. But I peed in it twice and I had some rumbling in my tummy and I was like, so I could go for a long bike ride, but what if I have to poop somewhere? If I have to poop somewhere, I'm fucked. I'm going to be flooring it real hard because like a lot of places aren't open. You can't go into a restaurant right now and alleviate yourself. So that's my let's get shitty. Like I even picked up our CSA on Monday and we picked it up from this place that's actually like a restaurant that hasn't existed in a while, but the owner of the place lets our CSA be there. And this like woman off the street with no mask on was like, I'm having lady issues and I need to come in and use your bathroom. And I was like, no, there's food in here that people have paid for. It's a CSA. I don't need your germs and your unmasked germs in here. No, you got to find someplace else to go. So yeah.
Did you tell her that?
Yes.
And
I did.
Respond?
She was like, it's an emergency. And I just walked away. I was like, nope, I can't deal with you right now.
Good.
Good for you.
So yeah, I get it. If I were in her position, I would have been just as freaked out. But at the same time, it's like, I'm sorry, especially if you're not wearing a mask. Fuck you.
Yeah.
No bathroom for you.
Yeah. Oof. Well, that's a good one. Good ones. Well, we're going to flush those problems down the drain.
Problems.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Bye, problems.
So,
if only we can flush the pandemic.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
So we have one last segment. It's our news segment, and it's going to start right now.
Yes.
So I love the ending of that part.
Farts are always funny.
So this was on, this is the weird news section by David Moy. I thought this was on CNN, but I could be wrong.
Oh.
I forgot the actual, I should have noted this. I don't know the actual, it's Huffington Post. Sorry, my bad. Oh. Huffington Post. Woman farts during surgery, setting fire to laser in operating room. So this happened in Tokyo. A woman was having, oh my God, in April. So this happened a little while ago. A woman at the Tokyo Medical University Hospital was getting some kind of laser procedure done on her cervix. She was in her 30s, and according to the Asahi Shimbun newspaper, the woman farted during the procedure and ignited the laser.
This girl is on fire.
Literally on fire, which I can't. This is so crazy, the story. But
methane gas is very flammable.
Yeah, so it resulted the fire resulted in it burned like her body, waist, and legs.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like, so according to the report, when the patient's intestinal gas leaked into the space of the operating room, it ignited the irradiation of the laser. Oh, sorry. What did that say? Is that spelled wrong? Irradiation. I don't know. Anyway, it basically blew up the laser. Her intestinal gas just blew up that laser, and the burning just spread everywhere. It eventually reached out to the surgical drape, causing that to catch on fire too. So everything was on fire. And the doctor was saying that, oh my God. But there's a doctor in LA that's saying that something of this doesn't really quite pass the smell test.
Oh.
This person was saying he performs a lot of colorectal and anal surgeries, and he's never had that happen. So it might just be like the amount of methane that was in the colon, but he thinks it's bullshit. Oh. I think it's great. I mean, I don't think it's great. I feel bad for the woman, but for this podcast, that story is like A+. So
it's a cautionary tale.
That's some hot stuff.
No, yeah. The LA doctor is basically saying that the methane released during the fart could be ignited when the heat sources, if it's in a certain area, but he's very skeptical that it like ignited to that level.
Everybody in Los Angeles is very skeptical.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I have read that like the beginning of colonoscopies, like there was a lot of people that combusted because they didn't like evacuate well enough beforehand, and there was methane stuck in their colon. And when the camera went up there, it was like boom, like an explosion. So I believe it.
Well, just don't fart during laser surgery because bad things are going to happen. But that story is fantastic. I just couldn't believe that story. I think Ellen sent this to me, or either Rose or Ellen. It was Ellen, probably. It's a really great story. So, but with that, Eric, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You were fantastic. And
I had fun. It's fun to get on the Poopy Podcast. Been a dream of mine for a long time.
Aw. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, Eric sent me out an email back in February, and he's like, I wish this email had to do with poop, but it doesn't. So I'm going to go on to my other thing. Eric, where can people find you?
On Instagram at Schmalenberger, SCHMALENBERGER. Or you can sign up for my mailing list at blunderlandvariety.com.
Yay!
Excellent. Get on that mailing list, people. You won't be that show. When we get back to seeing live entertainment, you will not be disappointed.
It's true.
It's a fun, great show.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Eric. And happy pooping, everybody, and toot, toot, toot.
Hey Poopy Podcast is brought to you by Perfect 4 Entertainment. Produced by Dave and Ellen, with executive producer Stormy Leather, edited by me, Dave.
For more information, go to heypoopypodcast.com for episodes, merch, and more. Follow us on Instagram at heypoopypodcast and Twitter at heypoopy. Theme song by Jordan Perlson. Hey Poopy.